Ryan Carter's backpack hit the ground with a hollow thud, but it was nothing compared to the weight crushing his chest. Expelled. The word echoed relentlessly in his mind. Expelled, just because he was a farmer's son. Principal Hawthorne's cold, clipped words still rang in his ears. This school is for respectable families. You don't belong here. Ryan blinked hard, willing the tears not to fall. His boots scuffed against the pavement as he trudged toward the dirt road that led back to his family's farm. He dreaded the look on his parents' faces. His father's disappointment. His mother's sadness. It wasn't supposed to be like this. He had worked harder than anyone. The next morning at Crestmont Academy, the atmosphere was different. The hum of chatter was interrupted by an ominous roar in the sky. Students and teachers alike rushed out of classrooms and froze in disbelief. A sleek, black helicopter hovered over the prestigious campus lawn before descending gracefully. Its blades sent gusts of wind through the ivy-covered archways, rustling uniforms and scattering papers. No one had ever seen anything like it. Chapter 1. The Fall. Ryan stood silently outside Principal Hawthorne's office just the day before. His hands clenched the straps of his old canvas backpack, knuckles white. His heartbeat hammered in his chest. He could hear Hawthorne's voice through the door, cold, dismissive, surgical. "You don't belong here, Ryan," Hawthorne had said with a practiced sneer. "This institution fosters the future leaders of society. We are not in the business of charity. Farm boys like you lower our standards." The words landed like blows. Ryan had always known he was different. His classmates wore tailored blazers and Italian loafers. He wore hand-me-down jeans and scuff boots that still smelled faintly of the fields he worked before class. But he had fought his way into Crestmont Academy on merit, on grades, on grit. "I earned my place," Ryan had whispered, voice tight with anger and shame. "Grades," Hawthorne scoffed. "Grades are not enough. Reputation is everything." The door opened suddenly, and 2 security officers appeared. Ryan's stomach twisted. "Escort him out," Hawthorne ordered. The guards grabbed him firmly by the arms. Ryan's face burned as he was paraded through the hallways like a criminal. Students whispered. Some laughed. He caught sight of Jordan West, Crestmont's golden boy and heir to a tech fortune, smirking from where he lounged against his locker. Finally getting rid of the farm trash, Jordan jeered. Ryan said nothing. He kept his eyes forward, jaw clenched, determined not to give them the satisfaction of seeing him break. At home, his parents were already waiting on the porch. His mother's eyes brimmed with tears. His father's jaw was tight as steel. "They expelled me," Ryan said quietly. His mother covered her mouth. His father pulled him into a tight hug, but Ryan could feel his worry. "We'll figure something out," his dad murmured. But Ryan wasn't sure either of them believed it. Chapter 2. The Arrival. The next morning, Crestmont Academy found itself at the center of an event that would be spoken about for years. The helicopter landed with military precision, sending shockwaves through the gathered crowd. Teachers scrambled to maintain order. Principal Hawthorne stormed outside, his face flushed with confusion and outrage. "What is the meaning of this?" he bellowed. The helicopter's door opened with a hiss of hydraulics. A man stepped out, tall, composed, dressed in a tailored charcoal suit that whispered wealth. His polished shoes crunched softly against the stone pathway as he walked toward the school. Behind him followed 2 men, bodyguards or associates, no one could be sure. But what sent true ripples through the onlookers was the insignia on the helicopter's side, Winslow Industries. Every person there knew that name. It was synonymous with power. Agriculture, technology, energy, Winslow Industries touched everything. And standing before them was none other than Gabriel Winslow himself. Principal Hawthorne paled. He smoothed his tie hastily and stepped forward. "Mr. Winslow, what an unexpected surprise. How may I help you?" Gabriel Winslow didn't waste words. He removed his sunglasses, his sharp gray eyes scanning the crowd before landing on Hawthorne with unsettling precision. "I'm here for Ryan Carter." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Ryan Carter? The farm boy who'd been expelled yesterday?" Principal Hawthorne stammered. "Mr. Winslow," Ryan is no longer a student here. I am aware, Gabriel replied flatly. That's why I'm here. Chapter 3, Second Chances. At that exact moment, Ryan was lying awake in his room, staring at the ceiling. His hands were still raw from helping his father fix the tractor the night before. His body ached, but it was nothing compared to the sting of humiliation. The distant thrum of a helicopter sent a vibration through the walls. Ryan frowned, sitting up slowly. He yanked his window open, just in time to see a sleek black aircraft descending onto their front field. Ryan, his mother called nervously from downstairs. By the time Ryan raced outside, his father was already standing there, his posture rigid with disbelief. Out of the helicopter stepped Gabriel Winslow. Ryan's mother clutched her husband's arm. "That's Gabriel Winslow," she whispered in awe. Ryan could hardly breathe. Winslow's reputation was larger than life. He was a man who shaped industries, not someone who visited farms in the middle of nowhere. "Ryan Carter," Gabriel said as he approached, his tone not leaving room for question. "Yes, sir," Ryan answered. Gabriel nodded, scanning the humble house, the worn tools by the barn, the rows of crops in the distance. Then, without preamble, he extended his hand. "Your father, Daniel Carter," Gabriel said, glancing at Ryan's dad, "worked on one of my earliest sustainability projects decades ago." Daniel Carter stiffened, then slowly shook the man's hand. "I did," he confirmed. "I managed one of your first organic farms." Gabriel gave a small nod. "And now, your son has been expelled from Crestmont Academy." Ryan flinched, but answered, "Yes, sir." "Tell me why," Gabriel demanded. And Ryan did. The story spilled out. Hawthorne's cruelty, Jordan's taunts, the sense that he'd never truly belonged. Gabriel listened without interruption. When Ryan finished, Gabriel's gaze hardened. He turned to his assistant. "I want everything on Crestmont Academy's administration." "Now," the assistant nodded, already typing on his tablet. Gabriel faced Ryan once more. "Get in the helicopter." "What?" Ryan said, stunned. "We're going back to Crestmont," Gabriel replied. His mother stepped forward, panic in her eyes. "What are you going to do?" Gabriel's expression softened only a fraction. "Give your son the future he deserves." Chapter 4, Turning Tides. As the helicopter soared back toward Crestmont, Ryan sat silently, staring at the farmland shrinking beneath them. Gabriel was reviewing documents on his tablet, but eventually glanced at Ryan. "Do you know why I'm doing this?" "Because you knew my dad?" Ryan guessed. Gabriel smiled faintly. "Partly, but mostly because I recognize potential when I see it." He turned his tablet toward Ryan. "You've maintained perfect grades. You rank in the top 1% statewide. Your teachers noted your work ethic, and you were expelled because of prejudice." Ryan's throat tightened. "I built Winslow Industries from the ground up," Gabriel continued. "People like Hawthorne think legacy and privilege are all that matter. They're wrong." The helicopter descended over Crestmont Academy once more. Ryan's heart pounded in his ears. Principal Hawthorne stood on the lawn, surrounded by board members and staff, his face pale. Gabriel disembarked with calm, deliberate steps. Ryan followed. Hawthorne tried to recover his composure. "Mr. Winslow, you made a mistake," Gabriel cut him off smoothly. "A costly one." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Phones recorded every second. "I'm donating $10 million to Crestmont Academy," Gabriel announced. "On one condition." A hush fell over the assembly. "You will reinstate Ryan Carter immediately and issue a public apology." Hawthorne sputtered. "This is highly irregular." "You have 5 seconds," Gabriel said, checking his watch. Hawthorne's face turned red, then pale. The board members looked desperate. The students whispered. "For seconds." "And Mr. Winslow," Hawthorne stammered. "Of course. Ryan Carter is reinstated. And I deeply apologize for any mistreatment. Effective immediately." Gabriel nodded. "The paperwork will be signed today." Chapter 5, A New Beginning. As the students whispered in awe, Ryan stood still, his mind reeling. Hawthorne's apology was hollow, but Gabriel had made his point. "This isn't the end," Gabriel said quietly beside him. "This is your beginning." Before Ryan could speak, Gabriel gestured toward the helicopter. "You're coming with me." Ryan hesitated. "But Gabriel's eyes gleamed. "I'm launching a new scholarship program. For students like you. You'll be the first recipient. You'll study with my team. Learn leadership, innovation, business. You have more to offer than Crestmont can ever teach you." Ryan's breath caught. This was bigger than anything he had imagined. He turned to his father, who nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "You always told me to take opportunities," Ryan said. "And I meant it," his dad replied. "Go." Ryan climbed back into the helicopter. As they lifted off, Crestmont Academy became a distant blur. Gabriel sat opposite him, calm and unreadable. "You made the right choice," Gabriel said. Ryan exhaled slowly. "It doesn't feel real." "It will," Gabriel promised. Chapter 6: The Apprentice. They landed on the rooftop of Winslow Tower, an imposing skyscraper in the heart of the city. Ryan followed Gabriel through sleek hallways and past security checkpoints into a futuristic office that overlooked the skyline. "You're not a student anymore," Gabriel said. "You're an apprentice." "Why me?" Ryan asked. Gabriel studied him. "Because I was once you. Someone gave me a chance. Now I'm giving you one." Ryan thought of the dirt under his fingernails, the endless fields, and the ridicule he endured. And now he stood at the doorway of something greater. "This is only the beginning," Gabriel said. And Ryan believed him.